Welcome to the How to Convert Static HTML Web Pages to WordPress Ready Page Templates webinar. Real quickly, you see the table of contents there. This is what we're going to cover in the next hour, hour and a half while we're together. We're going to go over the pros and cons of this type of conversion. I'm going to give you a quick lesson on WordPress page hierarchy, and if that sounds like I'm speaking complete gibberish, don't worry about it, it'll make sense in a little bit. I'm going to give you a full step-by-step process of how this is done, how we convert an HTML page or pages to be able to be accessible inside of WordPress, and then I'm going to take questions and answers. So in regards to the pros and cons, some of the pros are as follows. Number one, you can quickly and completely for free, this process isn't going to cost you any money, integrate an HTML page with your current WordPress installation. So if you already have WordPress up and running somewhere and you have another page, be it a sales page or an opt-in page or some other page that you would like to incorporate into your normal WordPress flow, and you'll see what I mean by that in a second, this process will allow you to do that. Also, your new page or pages will show up if you decide to build a sitemap.xml file via a plugin like the Google XML Sitemaps plugin. Will also show up in your normal navigation flow. So if you are creating pages on your WordPress site, you can have these pages basically show up inside of your WordPress navigation, which is one of the main benefits to doing this. Can also help you integrate a great looking sales page with a WordPress run membership site. So maybe you have you want to put WordPress up, you want to use a plugin to create a little WordPress membership site, but you already have a great looking sales page that you want to use, maybe as the home page, and you want to integrate the two. This can be used for that as well. The cons are basically this. The process is not going to allow you to edit the content that's part of the HTML static page inside of the normal WordPress WYSIWYG editor. The content is still going to have to be edited inside of the code view, and you'll see how that's done, which basically means you'll still have to have a decent understanding, at least some understanding, of HTML and CSS in order to know how and where to make the changes. I'm going to cover some of that, but that's kind of a little bit beyond this particular webinar. So that's really the biggest con is the process isn't going to convert the page in such a way that all of a sudden you have all of that content available in the WYSIWYG editor. It would be wonderful if that happened, but this process is not going to allow that. So with that, I'm going to talk about the WordPress hierarchy and what that means, and we're going to jump over here real quick to howtowebdesign.org, and if you have a browser open, want to open another tab and check this out live, you can do that as well, but that's up to you. So howtowebdesign.org is a domain that I own and that I put up this demo page to test this process with you. And before I kind of dive in, I want to show you just one little simple trick that most of you probably know, but if you don't, it makes things a little bit easier for you. When you have WordPress installed, you've logged into your admin area, which is what you're seeing here, you're going to need to hop back and forth between WordPress admin and the front part of the site to view your changes, and it's really inefficient to try to work in one particular tab. So what I would suggest you do is to open up a new tab with the front page of your site. And how that's easy to do in most browsers. Here in Firefox, you basically just right-click on this link that will show up with your own URL, whatever site you're working on. Right-click on it, choose Open Link in a new tab, and you'll see a new tab rather appears. And if I visit this, you will see the default WordPress installation show up. This is the 2010 theme that is just a free default theme that is installed automatically. Was created by WordPress and is already just a part of your WordPress installation. So I guess before I do anything else, let me talk about this dash bar at the top. This dash bar is pretty cool. It doesn't show up for visitors. It only shows up for you as someone who's logged in to WordPress, but it's kind of annoying when you're designing stuff because it moves the layout around, and you want to see how it's going to really appear. So first thing I do basically is hop back over to the dashboard, come over here to users, and you can either click on users or you can click on the drop-down arrow that will appear when you hover. Choose your profile, and then from the profile option page, basically scroll down, and right here it says show admin bar when viewing site. Right now we don't want that. You can turn it on later if you want, but I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to click update profile, and we'll revisit the site, which is why, again, like I said, keep the second tab open, click refresh, and now we've gotten rid of that admin bar. So if you've been wondering how to do that, that's how that's done. Okay, so here's the thing. We want to, actually, I was trying to get ahead of myself and get into the step-by-step process. Let's discuss WordPress hierarchy. So by default, your home page is going to show posts, basically these dynamic posts that get added to your site, because WordPress was initially created as a, primarily a blogging platform, and they assume basically that you want to create a blog, and your blog's going to be on your home page. We're going to change this because this is not what we want. But even right now as it is, I guess what I'm saying to you is by default WordPress creates this static page called sample page, and if I click sample page, you'll see some sample content that was entered by WordPress, again by default. I didn't enter this content. And if we go back to the home page, the home page currently shows blog content. That's the way that WordPress sets things up by default. I want to show you basically just a simple, I'm not going to break down everything. You can read much more about this if you want to on WordPress.org. But there is a particular hierarchy or flow to which pages show first. By default, what I'm saying to you is it shows this post page. It shows Hello World as the default page. So I created something for you, and I will make it available to you within a day or two. But I've created a simple file for you, and if I open up the package, it's called Home, and I've created two of them for you actually, custom home files. I'll double click this and open it. You'll see that there's a home HTML file and a home.php file. So what I'm going to do, just to kind of show you, or just give you a little understanding in regards to WordPress hierarchy, I'm going to upload this home.php file, and you'll see what I mean in a second. You need an FTP client, something to upload files from your computer to your web server. I am using FileZilla, which is a free FTP program available for both PC and Mac. It's very solid, it's very stable. I use it all the time. There are other premium products out there that are excellent as well, but FileZilla will work really well for you. If you don't already have one, I would recommend FileZilla, and upgrading later if you find that you need other features. So we're going to log into the howtowebdesign.org server. I'm just going to click Quick Connect since I already have the details up here loaded. And you'll see that on the right-hand side now is all of the files that are sitting on my server. The left-hand side is, and I guess I should probably navigate back to here. On the left-hand side is my computer, my local machine. On the right-hand side is the web server files. So if I come down to this directory, and this is something you should know, these folder icons, folders in server terminology are referred to as directories. So if you hear me refer to this as a directory, it's because that's proper. Calling it a folder might be accurate if it's on your computer, but on a web server, it's a directory. So this folder icon or directory, public_HTML, the one that I'm highlighting right here, for this HostGator installation is my what's referred to as the root directory, the main directory for my website. If you have a hosting account somewhere other than HostGator, you might find that yours is htdocs, htdocs, It might sometimes be www. It might be a few different things. If you don't have public_HTML, look for htdocs. If you don't have htdocs, look for www. If you don't have any of those three, contact your web host and ask them which directory is your root directory. Since I know that public_HTML is my root directory, I'm going to double click on the folder icon to open it, to get inside. Once inside, I'm going to see there's a WP admin directory, WP content, WP includes, etc. These are the main directories installed when creating a WordPress install. The themes and plugins are all installed in the WP-content directory, and that's where I want to be right now. So I'm going to double click WP-content. I want to go into my themes folder or directory by double clicking it, and then I'm going to select 2010. 2010 is the current theme that we have active that you're seeing on the test site, and so that's the theme folder, the theme directory I want to get inside. So I'm going to double click on that folder icon. Okay, once inside, you're going to see all of the files that are creating that particular theme, the index being the home page, and you're going to see that they're alphabetical. You'll see that right now that there is no home.php file. So all I'm going to do is just give you a quick little test, show you what the home.php file is that I created for you and how it works. You may use it in the future, you may not, and that's okay. But at least you give you a little understanding in regards to what it is. So I'm going to drag the home.php file into my theme directory. Again, I have active 2010. You can now see that it's uploaded. It's now part of the list. Go ahead and close this and close FileZilla for a second. And I'm going to refresh the home page. Because I just uploaded a file, home.php, WordPress is going to wipe this page, this content, and it's going to replace it with my custom content because of the hierarchy. Again, because WordPress is looking to, by default, output these posts, but it says if I find home.php in the site files, then show that one instead, and that's all I'm really talking about here. So I'll refresh. And now you see this page. So this is dynamic. It will be accurate to whatever day it happens to be. Today is Wednesday, September 7th of 2011. This site is currently undergoing maintenance. Please check back again soon. So if you want a quick and easy little undergoing maintenance type application, there it is. I just created it for you. And I'm going to give you access to it. And you're going to see how this changes as we go through this process a little bit too. Please note that this is not required for any of this HTML conversion. This is just something I just wanted to show you, something I just wanted to give you in addition. All right? So with that, let's go. We'll start from the very beginning. We're going to work through this thing step by step. And I'll check questions periodically to make sure that I'm on track. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you type them into the questions chat box. And every once in a while, every few minutes, I'll go check and make sure that I'm on track and answer any questions that are outstanding. Okay? So here we go step by step. Step one basically is ensure that you have a current version of WordPress installed on your server. You need to have WordPress already installed. I'm not starting from WordPress installation. I'm assuming that you know how to install WordPress. So that assumption has been made. So make sure that you have WordPress running on a domain installed on your server. Second, you need to activate whichever theme that you'd like to integrate with the new HTML page or pages. So you likely know how to do that already, but if you go to Appearance, click on the drop-down menu, select Themes, you're going to get the ability to choose between whichever themes are currently installed. Right now, there are just the two default themes, and at the moment, as I make this webinar for you, WordPress is installing one called 2010 and a new one called 2011. You'll know which one is activated because at the top it says it's the current theme. If you wanted to activate a different one, you could find from your available, and you could click the Activate button right here, and it would activate this theme instead of the 2010. So step 2 basically again is activate the theme that you would like to integrate with the new HTML pages you're going to bring across. Step number 3 is to actually view the HTML pages you want to convert. So I'm going to go back to my working file here, and we're going to cover what's here. I went inside my own membership site. I downloaded a product called Facebook Lessons that comes with private label rights. You can see that the zip file is here. I unzipped the package, and this is the folder that appeared after being unzipped. So I'm going to double click this and just show you what's inside. Right now there's another folder inside, so I'll double click that. And here's what we got. We have an images directory or folder, a folder that includes the Photoshop files, a folder that includes the sales page files, a folder that includes squeeze page files, the actual PLR product, the Facebook Lessons ebook, basically a report in Microsoft Word content, Microsoft Word format rather, and a couple of text documents, looks like under the license and something else. So you can incorporate as many pages as you would like with this process. I'm just going to go ahead and walk through it once. I'll hold off installing a new one just in case I get questions that say, hey, can you show it again? I can run through it again really quickly. The process can really be done in about 10 to 15 minutes once you understand the process. So I'm going to double click and open up the sales page folder so you can see what's inside of it. The sales page folder includes 2 pages, the index or home page, this is the actual sales page itself, and the download page, basically the pre-configured page of where you can get the products that you're basically selling from the sales page. It also includes an images folder, and if I double click it, you'll see that there's a number of custom images that are used to make up the sales page. I go back a level. Couple of things you'll note. There is no CSS file. You don't see style.css. You also don't see a CSS folder. You don't see anything else. There might be, sometimes you might have a style sheet, a CSS file. Sometimes you might have a style sheet inside of a CSS folder. Sometimes you might have JavaScript, something else other than these simplistic files. But right now, to make up this site, we basically have 2 elements, the HTML page itself and the corresponding images. What I want you to do before you do anything else, don't upload anything to your server, just look at the files that you want to recreate on WordPress. We're going to start with the sales page. I want you to double click, with a browser open, I want you to double click on the page you want to recreate and make sure that it looks properly in your browser. So I'm going to double click on index. You'll see that it's opened that page in Firefox. This is coming from my local machine. You see it's coming up here from my C drive. This is not coming from a web host. And you'll see that the page is showing up properly. The header graphic is formatted correctly, e-covers correctly, the text is formatted the way that they want it. They've left us some clues. They've used some red text where they're saying for sure you want to edit the content at minimum. They've left us some other stuff that says edit this link. Of course, this would only work if we're also uploading the squeeze page. We need to update the order button to work. There's a couple of license and earnings disclaimers links that we'd have to update. Again, in red we have your name, your website to edit. There's the rights, and then an on-page earning disclaimer. So that's basically the page that we're going to recreate first into WordPress. So if you find that this page does not render properly, if there's broken images, if the layout is all messed up, then you don't want to go any further because the process isn't going to work until it looks proper inside of the browser, just coming from your local machine. Some of the things that can happen is it's possible that it's missing something. It might be missing the style sheet that it's supposed to have. Maybe they had the images in the wrong area. If I take this images folder and I move it up one level, I get it out of this sales page folder and I put it into the one above it. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and Control X to cut the images folder. I'll move up one level. Actually, it already has an images directory, and I don't want to overwrite it. So let me create a new folder called temporary, just temp. Oops, my fingers are on the right keys. That would have worked. All right, so inside of temp, I'm going to put the images that we just yanked from the sales page. So we go back inside sales page, now we see index and download. The images are still there, but they're up a level. They're in an area where the page no longer knows how to find them. And if I go refresh this page, you're going to see that all of a sudden I get all of these broken images. All these broken images are appearing because it's looking for these images in a particular area, what's referred to as the path, and it can't find them. And as a result, all of the images have disappeared. So if you see something like this, or if your layout is broken, you want to stop right there and fix it before you go any further. If everything appears properly, then you're okay to move on to the next step. So with that, I'll go back in here, go back inside temp. I'll cut that again. I'll put it inside of sales page, put it back, and now that it's back where it's supposed to be, if we refresh, what happened? It's upset with me. Hang on a second. Let me force it. Okay, so I've just used F5 to force the refresh, and you can see that everything shows up again. So again, test the page just by double-clicking the HTML page when you have a browser open. Make sure that everything looks proper, and if it does, you can go ahead and move on to the next step. So the next step basically is to open your site via FTP. Again, I'm going to show you FileZilla. And I've already got the site open. We've already gone through that process. But I want to go back into my root directory. Again, for me, on HostGator, it's public_HTML. And if you're not comfortable with how to navigate around, here's how that's done. You see the folder or the directory icon at the top that has the two dots? That means basically go up one level. So if I double click this, it's saying to basically get out of the 2010 directory and go up one level into themes. Once I get there, I'm going to have to go up a level to get into WP content, and then I'm going to have to go one more time to get into public_HTML. So double click the folder with the two dots. Now we're in themes. Double click again. Now we're in content. Double click again. Now you'll see that we're back in the root directory. So I hope that makes sense. Let me go quickly look at questions. Okay. Hamant says, can you put anything on that home.php file, HTML, etc., sales page, squeeze page, etc.? Yeah, sure. If you just wanted to basically grab the sales page or grab something, rename it to home.php, and drop it into the actual theme folder that you have activated, it will force that page to show up as your home page. So the answer is yes. The problem with that, and you're gonna see there's a couple of problems with doing that. Number one, if you create a blog and decide you want to use a static front page, it's gonna automatically switch, and that probably is very confusing at the moment. So I'll skip that and come back to it. That was something I was going to cover anyway. The other reason is all of the images and CSS, everything that makes up that page would have to be properly called out, and that's basically the process we're doing anyway. But just so I answer your question properly, the answer is yes. By default, the top level hierarchy that WordPress will show for a page is home.php. So if you create a page and you name it home.php, you drop it in an active theme folder, it's going to show that page, provided you haven't used the settings inside of WordPress to already stipulate a static front page and a particular posts page. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. I'm going to show it to you. All right, so that looks like it's it for now. Once again, going back to where we are, we've checked the HTML page in a browser, looks fine. We're going to open up our server in public_HTML or whatever the root directory is, and we are going to create a new directory, a new folder inside of our root directory. So with FileZilla, you can do that as easy as just right-clicking, select Create Directory. Okay, you'll see this browser window open, and you can name the directory anything you'd like. So you don't have to use what I'm about to use. You can honestly use anything you want. I'm going to use static-html just so it leaves me a note later on. What on earth, do I have in that directory? It's a pretty good indication that I've uploaded some static HTML content inside of that directory, and that'll help, basically just give me a clue for later on. So you see that directory has been created. Again, all we did was right-click, choose to create a directory, and then we just named it. And that's it. Clicked OK, and it automatically creates it inside of our root directory. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to upload. I'm going to double-click on this folder icon just to open it, so you see that there's nothing inside. We are going to upload whatever contents make up this page except for the HTML. So if there's images, we upload all the images. If there's CSS or JavaScript or videos or anything else in this directory that's causing these pages to work, we're going to upload the rest of it, everything except for the HTML, into this brand new directory. So I'm just going to click and hold on images directory. I'm going to drag over to my server. I'm going to let go of my mouse click, and you're going to see that these image files are being transferred over to my server. So that process is now done. Again, upload anything that helps you build that HTML page except for the static HTML pages themselves into a directory that you've created inside of your root directory. Again, you can name this whatever you choose. It does not have to be static HTML. Okay? So with that, if I double-click images now, you'll see that all of the images that were in that folder have been uploaded along with the folder or the directory images itself. Okay? So now, here's where things get a teeny bit technical, unless you have some experience with web server architecture. This isn't all that geeky, but it's something that you need to understand. You need to understand how to determine a path to any particular file on your web server. So public_HTML, this is the root. You can think of public_HTML basically as your domain name. So in this case, since we're using howtowebdesign.org, you can just replace in your mind public_HTML with howtowebdesign.org or whatever your domain name is. If it's yourdomainname.com, then yourdomainname.com is basically how the server is accessing these files that are in the root. Now, next, it goes basically down a level because we've created this other folder or directory called static-html. And if I click on images, I guess I should open them, you'll now see the path lengthens again. So now we have basically our domain name /static-html/images, and then there would be a /background.jpg. So to show you what I mean by understanding how that path works, if I want to show in a browser just this background image and nothing else, I need to point my browser, and I'm going to do that for you here live, to my domain name, in this case howtowebdesign.org, /static.html/images/ whatever this image name is. In this case, it's background.jpg. So you don't need to know or remember, you don't need to do what I'm about to do. I'm just hoping that this helps you understand how to find a path. So I'm going to type in the full browser window, http://www.howtowebdesign.org/static -images/background.jpg. And when I click enter, if my path is correct, I will see the background image show up. And it's being tiled. Basically, the code is telling it to repeat it horizontally and vertically, which is why it fills that entire area behind our web page. But if the file appears, you know that you have your path correct. So if we go back to this site, this is just a repeated image, which is how this is being made. But you need to understand how to find the paths, and the reason is because one of the next things that we need to do is we need to go alter the paths that are inside of the normal or the default HTML page. So if we open up our package that we're trying to recreate, go into sales page, since this index is really the sales page that we want to recreate, we need to open this page inside of a text editor. Of course, you can open it in Dreamweaver, you can open it up in Front Page or Microsoft Expression Web, or you can just open it in Notepad or whatever text editor you use. I use an editor called Edit+3. It is one that you pay for. It's not all that expensive, but I use this primarily as my web design tool whenever I'm building HTML stuff. And I'm going to show you how to use it because it color codes things and makes it a little bit easier for me to display. However, I will tell you that you can open this with Notepad and you can edit it inside of Notepad just fine. So if you only have Notepad, you can use it. You'll just see everything in black and white. I'm going to go ahead and open it up with Edit+3. Again, so I'm opening the index.html file, which is the sales page file that we want to recreate. Okay, so if we look down here, we're going to see that we have these images, right? You see it says images/header.jpg. And if we keep looking, here we got images/cover-350.jpg, etc., etc., etc. They're all throughout this particular document. If we keep looking, we'll keep finding more and more images to the squeeze, etc. It'll keep going. Each one of those images is called out somewhere. But we have to update that path. This web page is going to get installed inside of the theme folder, the theme directory, and it won't be able to find these images with these default paths. We have to change them. So we have to input, images/background.jpg is just fine, but we have to put the content that came before it, starting with http:// all the way through our domain / the directory that we created, which in this case is static-html, whatever you've created, / images, etc. So you're going to see how we're going to do that and how we're going to do that easily. I don't want to have to go through each one of these instances and redo it. It would take forever. So here's how to do that kind of more quickly. What I do is I want to copy images /. So all I've copied is just the word images and the /. That's it. You can do this in Note Page too, by the way. This isn't just something that works in Edit+3. I'm going to Control-C to copy that to the clipboard. In Edit+3, I go to Search, and I go to replace. In Notepad, it's in a different spot, and I'll show you that here in a second. But search and then replace is proper for Edit +3. It's going to say find what? You know, what do you want to find? What do you want to replace? Well, since I've already copied it to the clipboard, it's smart enough to know that that's what I want to basically tell it to find each time. Each time it finds images / I want it to replace it with something. And what I want it to replace it with is http://www.howtowebdesign.org /static -files /images /. So what it's basically telling it to do is anytime you find images / replace it with this entire path. So again, the web domain, the directory recreated, and then again images and /. If you've grabbed the / originally, if it's here, it needs to be recreated in the bottom. If you grab just the word images, which you can do as well, you just need to make sure that if it doesn't have images, it doesn't have the / in the top, it can't have it in the bottom. All right. When you get this set up, you just click Replace All, and you'll see real quickly it's replaced that path exactly as I asked it to. So now it has the full path to images. The next one is done. The next one is done. The entire file has been updated. Okay. So what I'm going to do now before anything else is I'm going to save it as a new name. I'm going to go File, Save As. Inside of the same package, we can put it right there. You can create a new folder if you want. So you can do, you know, I don't know, WP Ready Files, whatever makes sense for you. I'll double click and open that directory, and we'll put this into it. I'm going to name this, rather than index, I'm going to name this sales page. And right now you can see it says what kind of type do I want to save it as? HTML, do I want to save it as PHP, etc. We want to save it as a PHP page because all of the WordPress template files are PHP pages. But at the moment I'm going to just choose HTML just so I can teach you something else. I'm going to click Save. Yeah, do you want to add HTML extension automatically? Yes. Okay, so if we look back in our folder now, we've got, you know, we were working on this file. We now have salespage.html, and the only thing that we've done to it at the moment is we've edited these image paths to find the images that we have installed already on our directory. It actually would go find our domain, find static HTML file, directory, images, and it would find all of these real images that are on our server, and that's what we want. And I can get out of this area and go back into the root for a second. All right, since that's kind of techy, let me pause and make sure I haven't totally lost anybody. Does anybody have a question? Right now, the only question is the same that was what was there at last. So, all right, I'm going to assume that that made sense. Okay, so to recap, again, we created a new directory. In this case, again, it can be whatever you want, but in this case, static-html inside of our root directory. We uploaded the supplemental elements, whatever is helping to build those static HTML pages, in our case just the images folder and the images that come inside of them. Again, if you have CSS or JavaScript or something else, everything needs to go inside of the directory that you've uploaded. We then used a text editor to open our HTML page. We used the find and replace feature to change the path to each one of our images. Please note also that if you have paths to CSS files, paths to JavaScript that are external, paths to other stuff. You have to update all of those as well, which is where, you know, a little bit of understanding of HTML comes into play. If you find that you do this work and it doesn't work properly, likely 9 times out of 10 there's a problem with a path. Either you got the path wrong, or you forgot to update a path. Maybe you got all the image file paths, but you forgot to update the path to the one external style sheet that you uploaded into that new directory on your web server. So that would be the first thing I would suggest that you check. Okay, so most of the default work that we need to do is already done. We've just uploaded the images that make up this page to a particular place on our server, and we've updated the paths to point to the proper place. The next thing is helping this page become a custom page template inside of WordPress. And this is really super simple because I've given you a template. So inside of the folders that you're, or the elements that you're going to get as part of this training, you're going to see an instructions text file. If you double click this instructions text file, it's going to give you most of the training that I've just delivered to you via this webinar, but it's also going to give you this, it's also going to give you this bit of PHP right here at the top. This bit of PHP needs to be placed at the very top of each HTML page you want to recreate inside of WordPress. All I do is just click and drag left with my left mouse click until it's all highlighted. Control-C to copy it to my clipboard. Go ahead and close this. Go back to the HTML page we have open in our text editor. I'm going to put my cursor right here at the top where it says HTML. I'm going to enter a few times. I'm going to scroll to the very first line. It needs to start on the very first line. I'm going to Control-V and paste that content in from the instructions file. That's pretty much it. You can have blank spaces between this and that. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. I'll just take away all but one just to leave a little break. Okay, the only thing that you need to change in this page whatsoever is you need to put your own template name here. Okay, so whatever you want to call this. You can see that you can have spaces between it. That's fine. I would suggest that you make it somewhat short. I'm going to just type in, you know, my sales page. If you're uploading multiple sales pages to multiple areas on your site, which is totally okay, you could put, you know, something more descriptive. You could put, you know, Facebook sales page. If you have one that's Twitter, you could have Twitter sales page. You could basically use the product name sales page or whatever you want. You can put in there. I'm just going to put in my sales page. So again, just update the information that comes after theme name, making sure that there's a space between the start of the theme name and the colon. All right, and then go ahead and save that page again. All right. Now, at this point, we can either save it as salespage.php, which is totally fine to do, or we can do it inside of the server. So I'll do it both ways. If I want to rename it right now, I choose File, Save As. I want it to be sales page, but I don't want it to be HTML. I want it to be PHP. I just scroll down. Again, this is with Edit Plus, and choose PHP. Click Save. Do I want to add the extension automatically? The answer is yes. And if we go look at, we are in Facebook Lessons, and we are inside of, let's see here, sales page, and I think we're in WP Ready Files. Yeah. So if you look over here, it says sales page, and the type of document, you see it's a PHP script, so you know that it updated properly. Whereas this one shows as a Firefox document, it's HTML, okay? So you can do it that way. However, you can also do it this way. You can open up your web server, This is the next step in the process anyway. We need to navigate on our server back to the theme directory that we have active. So again, with an understanding of your web server, starting at the root directory, in my case public_HTML, the themes are inside of WP-content, so double-click the folder icon next to it. Double-click the themes folder icon. We're using 2011, so I'm going to double-click the icon next to it. Did I say 2011? I meant 2010. We're using 2010 if I misstated that. And here is where all of the files go, and here's again where we uploaded the home.php file. So right now what we're going to do is we are going to see that there is no salespage.php file, which is important. You can't name the page something that is already used by your theme. So double check that before you decide to do it. You can't just upload this as index.php. You're going to cause serious problems. So if you wanted to name it page.php, you can't. There's already a page.php. We've named it salespage.php, and you'll see that no current sales page exists. So what I can do is one of two things now. Minimize this a little bit. I can just click and drag the salespage.php file over, and that would work perfectly, but I'm going to show you a different way. I'm going to drag over the salespage.html file. I'm going to let that go. Minimize this, and you'll see that now we have a salespage.html file. Well, we want salespage.php. We need salespage.php. So all we can do with FileZilla is right-click, choose Rename. You'll see that it allows us to not only change just the name of the file, but also the extension. So if I click behind it and I backspace to get rid of HTML, but just change that to PHP and hit my Enter key, you'll see that it immediately changes it to salespage.php, and now it believes that it is a PHP script. And that process is complete. So let me open up the questions box and take a look. Greg says your URL you changed in the editor is not correct. I disagree. I think you are wrong, Mr. Dahlberry. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. So we will find out in just a second when we go inside of WordPress and double check. If I am wrong, then I will admit to it and we'll figure it out, but I don't think that I am. So we'll figure that out in just a second. So let me review my notes real quick. We've just basically, go back to the text editor. We've opened our static web page in the text editor. We updated our full path to the images, and I guess I can test that also here even before we go further, because if this shows up, everything should be correct. Let me minimize this, open a new tab, and paste that straight from the file. Mr. Dahlberry is accurate. I stand corrected. Okay, so what did I do to mess up? Oh, because it's not static files, it's static HTML. Thank you, Mr. Dahlberry. Good to have you around. So static files is incorrect. I don't know why I typed static files. It's supposed to be static-HTML. So this is a perfect example of the fact that 9 times out of 10 you're going to have issues. The issues are going to be with your paths, and it just bit me myself. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to highlight static files. I copied that, Control-C to the clipboard. I'm going to go back to search, replace. I want to replace just the words static files, and I want to replace it with static-HTML. I'm going to click replace all. I'm going to close. Now we see that the path is going to static-HTML. Thanks to Greg, and oops, don't want the quotation marks. I'm going to grab just the URL. going to Control C. I'm going to go back here and paste that, and okay. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. We're back to, into business, and again, that happened because I was careless. I thought I remembered my path properly, and I didn't. So I guess I should point out one little trick in regards to that. What you can do is on your server, we'll just click this folder icon with the double dots again to go up a level, and I'll keep going until I get back to that images folder that we uploaded. So we uploaded static-html where we created that directory, double click it, and then we also we uploaded the images directory into it. If I double click it, you'll see that it creates this path up at the top. You can grab this, Control C, you can paste it to a notepad. I can add the / after images, and then what I can do is I can actually copy this, or just highlight that with my cursor, Control C to copy it. In this case, we're going to use, I think it's Edit, Replace. We're going to Control V to paste. We're going to get rid of everything at the beginning with the full URL. See if I can do that right now. How to web design .org, and we don't need a trailing slash because we already have it up here. So replace all, and you'll see that it just replaced that. And so that's now the accurate path, and you can do that straight from just copying it up in here so you don't make any mistakes like I did. All right. So again, I hate to back up, but I'm going to do it to make sure it makes sense. We updated the paths on the server. We've included the new PHP code at the top that basically tells it to select this as a new custom template, and we've saved it either as whatever name.php, or we've basically just caused it to be that name.php. And I'll go back, I'll just quickly get back to the themes folder so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, that page needs to be named something, whatever you've decided to name it. Just make sure that it's not named with something that currently exists in your theme folder, and it has to be a .php page. So with that, we can go back in and do the work inside of WordPress. So we go back inside of our WordPress installation and just click the dashboard here to go back to the beginning, just so you can kind of see where I'm at. Back into my WordPress dashboard, I'm going to go back to Pages. Actually haven't been to Pages yet. We'll go to Pages, we'll add a new page. And here's where we can define what we want the page to be named. If you want to show up, if you want the sales page to show up on your home page, you can name it Home. Name it whatever you want. Maybe you don't want it to show up there. Maybe you want the blog to show up on the front end, and you want the sales page to show up somewhere else, and that's fine too. I'll show you both ways. So first, we'll just call it sales page. Again, you can name it whatever you want. There's not going to be any content in the editor whatsoever. Again, like I said at the beginning of this, it's pulling the content from inside of the actual HTML, still getting the raw HTML. Down here towards the bottom, in the template area, if we click the drop down, we're going to see a new opportunity. Before, this wasn't here. There was default and one column, no sidebar, but my sales page is showing up, and I'm going to select it. And this content, again, is being directly delivered because I have named it my sales page. If I cause this to be Kevin, it would show up with a custom page template called Kevin, etc. Okay, so that's how that works. I'm going to select my sales page, and I'm going to click to publish this. Okay, we'll go view the site, and we got this problem, right? At least at the moment, you know, if I refresh, I'm still going to see this home page. I can't see what I want. So there's a couple of different ways. Obviously, I can just easily delete this off the server, and it'll all, you know, go back to the way it was. But this is what I wanted to show you, something else. Inside of WordPress admin, you can set a static page, any page on your site. You can set it to be your home page, and then you can choose a different page to be your posts page or your blog. So I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to add new. I'm going to call this just blog. Again, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to put no content in here whatsoever. I'm going to use the default template, and I'm going to publish it. That's it. I'm just going to give the page a name. I'm going to click publish. You'll see why in a second. So now that we have these two pages, sales page and blog, we're going to go to settings. We'll click the drop down arrow. We're going to go to reading. And at the top, you see that by default, the front page is going to display your latest posts. This is what we talked about at the very beginning. We no longer want to do that if that's what you want to. You don't have to. You can still show the blog on your front page if you want. If you want, however, the sales page to show up at the front, this is how we do it. We click the radio button that says a static page. We select which page do we want to be shown on the front. We want the sales page to be shown on the front, and we now want this blog page to be shown as the posts page. I know it kind of seems weird. There's no content in there, but it will move automatically all of the content that are posts. It'll automatically populate it into this page. You'll see that in just a second. I'm going to save changes. I'm now going to go back over to our demo install, and I'm going to refresh. What you're going to see is you're going to see this page, home.php, is going to disappear because this settings is overriding it. This is taking precedence. It's messing with the hierarchy again. It started by default using the latest posts. We updated the home.php. It started to use that file. Now that we're doing this, it's going to update it or overwrite that once again, and we're going to see the sales page. And beautiful. Now I know why I forgot to upload it. Whoops. Yikes, I didn't want to do that. Okay, let me slow down here. So what we've done basically is I updated Greg's changes on my machine, but I forgot to upload them to the server. So let me right-click, delete the salespage.php file. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to open the text editor again, and I'm going to take a look at it, make sure that this is correct, and it is. We updated salespage.php, which is important to note. See it down here in the tab? And I can see that it's red, so I know it didn't even get saved. Control S, it should turn to this blue-green color, which it does. So I'm going to re-upload salespage.php. I apologize for that. That was a little bit clunky. But going back to our server, again, we are inside of our theme directory. We'll navigate to where we have the salespage.php file, which is right here. I'm going to drag that to the server. You'll see that it is now appearing with the new proper path, and if I refresh, everything should be proper again. Okay, so now basically here's what's going on. We have now a static HTML page that is installed inside of WordPress that is being controlled by WordPress, meaning that, again, like I said, if you upload a sitemap .xml file, if you use the plugin Google XML Sitemaps, it will pick up this page into the flow of things. If we look at our full site, if we go to our blog page, you can do that by going to, well, let's go, yeah. We'll go to pages, all pages. We'll go to view, It's going to open up, oops. That's interesting. Shouldn't have done that. Let's go wipe that home.php file because it is still messing with the blog. So this is just a temporary thing, just something I wanted to show you. I'll go ahead and delete home.php. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. And we'll try that again. So under the blog, we'll view it. And now you see that we have a blog page that's being built. We have the sample page that was by default created by WordPress. And if we click the home page, it's going to take us back to our sales page file. So that's a way that you can get an HTML page basically to work inside of your flow. If it wasn't inside of WordPress, let's see. I guess let me go back. If it wasn't inside of WordPress, it would know to select that page as the home page. It would be sitting outside of the WordPress install, but because it is inside of WordPress, it's showing up. And if I do it a different way, basically, this is just a little teaching aid. Hopefully this makes sense. We go back to settings and to reading. And if we turn this back off, basically, if we go back to your latest posts, click Save Changes. And if we now view, let's see here, if we now view the home page, here's what we're going to see. Since we just took it off, that static setting, the WordPress theme is controlling the home page, but now you see the sales page show up in the navigation, and if I click on it, it's going to take us to this WordPress page with the ugly permalinks right now, question mark page ID equals 21. It's going to show that particular page as part of the flow. So again, that's how you can either decide that you want these custom pages to show up not as the home page, as some other page, or you can go through the reading settings just like we did right here and choose that custom page for your home page, and then the blog for the post page, and then everything shows up that direction. For the time being, I'm going to turn this off just because it makes it easier to do some other demonstrations. So let's see, does anybody have any questions about that? All right, Greg says that my issue was good for teaching troubleshooting, which is true, but I apologize for not feeling like I was wrong. Yeah, so I was wrong, and I've been trained to admit it readily. 21 plus years of marriage will do that for you. So let me see here. Looks like that's all good as far as that's concerned. Let me look at my notes real quick, see where I'm at. I think that's all pretty good. I'm going to show you a few other things. We're going to do another page, and I'm going to do it just real lickety-split so you can kind of see the process again. But I'm going to show you, and actually, yeah, let's do this. I think I can show you a couple of cool things as part of this process. Okay, so you've added a page to your WordPress installation, and it has a sales page, and that's all well and good. It's on there. And if we updated this information, and we're going to show that too, but if we updated this information, I click this button, it should take us over to my payment processor and pay, and then it's going to redirect back to the download page. Well, how do we do that? Okay, well, let's do that really, really lickety-split. I'm going to move real fast and hope that just further cements the teaching that I've given you so far. So what we need to do is we need to find the particular file. Let me open this up a little bit and go back up. Inside of sales page, there was the download page, right? I'm going to open up the download page in my text editor. This time, actually, let's do Notepad, so you can see what it'll look like. Whoa! See what it'll look like inside of Notepad, all black, right? But the same thing. We have to upload the images path. So again, I'm going to just highlight images / Control-C to copy. This time I'm going to go to Edit, Replace. I'm going to Control-V to paste that, images / I'm going to try to make this correct this time, http:// oops. Actually, if I was smart, I think I closed it. Never mind. We saved that path from before. howtowebdesign.org / static-html / images / So this should be proper. Greg will correct me if I'm wrong. Click Replace All. It'll do the same thing that Edit Plus just did. I'll go ahead and close that. We'll take a look and see that these files are indeed updated, hopefully with the proper ones. I'll Control-S to save it. Again, I'm not going to save it as PHP. I'm just going to save it just right still as an HTML file. I know that I need to put the PHP callout above this, so we will, let's see, I'll keep that open. We'll go back, and you're going to have access to this instructions file. Double-click it, copy the PHP information from just the very top. Again, paste that into the very top of the document. Change the template name. Call this download page. And something to note, because I've already checked this, I know that these images from the download page are already in, at least I'm pretty sure. We'll find out, I guess. I'm pretty sure that we've already uploaded them. If not, we'll have to do some uploading of images, but we'll find that out in a second. So we've put in the PHP code to cause it to be a custom template. We've updated the path to the images, which is all we need to do for this particular page. I'm going to Control-S, and we are going to get rid of that. We'll open FTP. We are already in our theme directory. We want to navigate to wherever the pages that we're working on, and in this case I think I just overwrote it. I forgot to save it into WP ready files, so it should be this one right here, is the one that we just edited, and I know that it is because it shows the date modified is right now current. So I'm going to drag this over into our theme folder. Again, it needs to be a PHP page, and right now it's not. It's download.htm. Just going to right-click in FileZilla, rename, click behind it, backspace to get rid of HTML, and type PHP, all lowercase. Hit Enter, and now it is a PHP file inside of my theme folder. If we go back inside of WordPress, we create a new page, Pages, Add New. We'll call this Download. Again, there won't be any content here because it's pulling it dynamically, or it's pulling it from that static page. We're going to choose the new template that we just created, download page, and that's all we need to do at the moment. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to click Publish. We'll revisit. Actually, we want to revisit the full current front page. I'll refresh, and now you see home, blog, download, sales page, and sample page. If I click download, we'll see if all the images are there or not. Okay, so they looks like they were, at least at the moment. So here's the download page. Here's the links that we would have to update to make this work. You see, again, they've given us some red text here to give us some reminders as to what we need to do. You know, replace your name here, put your contact information, etc. And this is supposed to be the download link. So wherever you uploaded the file to your server, right now by default they have it coded as yoursite.com/zip. So whatever that file package happens to be, we need to edit with this link. So because these images were already uploaded in that first process, I mean, that was how fast it was to get the second page. Now, a couple of things. Number one, oops, let's go back here. If you look at this, you say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If someone can just click a link and go straight to the download page and download, you know, why on earth would they pay me any money? And the answer is they wouldn't. So we've got to fix that. That's the first thing. Oops, let's go back here and just take another look. So we got to get rid of this from the navigation. We can't show the download page, you know, just to our visitors. Otherwise, they're just going to go straight there and access their downloads. So there is a plugin, and I've already installed it. It's called Exclude Pages, and you'll see that there's this Exclude Pages option box down here that shows up. And this is only showing up because I have installed and activated the plugin. But if you don't know how to do that, basically you go to Plugins, you go to Add New. When it comes up here, this is a free plugin, so you can go into the search area, type in Exclude Pages, search for plugins. It's going to go find it. It's the one by Simon Wheatley. It's right here at the top. And right now you see it says it's installed. If it's not installed, you'll have the option to install now. After it's installed, you have to activate it. So it's a basically a three-step process. Search for it, find it, click the Install Now button. Once it's installed, click the link to activate the plugin. And once you've done that, you'll now see, if we go back to Pages, I'll go back to Pages, All Pages first. We'll look at our download page, download, then edit. Inside of each page, it's going to give us this option. Do we want to include this page in the list of pages, meaning inside the navigation? If we untick this box and update it, we're going to turn it off, basically. So now we see it here now. If we refresh, you can see that it's gone. So the viewer itself doesn't anymore see the ability to navigate to the download page. And I guess I should point out one thing. Not every HTML page that you get by default is going to have this, but if we go back and look at the download page, they have included some code which is kind of nice, at least. Let's see here. Or did they? Well, that's really interesting. Okay, well, I get to show you something else then. Because it was on the sales page. And that's really weird. Okay. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. I thought for sure by default that these pages had the no follow attribute. Okay, I will send more information in regards to that. There is a particular piece of code, and I don't remember it right off the top of my head because I just copy paste it all the time, but you can put a piece of text in the head that basically tells the search engines not to follow nor index the content from that page. And you definitely want to do that whenever you're putting up a download page. You don't want your download page content to get indexed in the search engines, because then someone can go find it from the search engine. So if you've hidden it from your menu and if you've caused it not to get indexed by the search engines, you can do a pretty good job of protecting that download page from anyone who's obviously not just sharing it just illegally, you know what I mean? So Content. How do you edit the content then now that it's inside? Well, you go to Appearance. I'll minimize these. Click on Appearance on the drop-down menu. You have to go to Editor. And once it brings up the theme and all the content that you can edit, you look to the right-hand side and you're going to see your custom page files. You're going to see download page, page template, what we named download.php. We're also going to see, let's see, should be my sales page, page template, sales page.php. So when you want to edit the sales page, you simply click on the title from the right. It's going to activate it in a second. It's going to activate it in the window to the left. And now you can edit it inside of WordPress, but again, like I said, you still have to understand how to edit it with HTML and or CSS because it's not using the WYSIWYG editor. So let's say, for instance, we're looking down here and we want to find one of those red pieces of text to change. Let's see. All right, so here we go. Right here we have from the desk of, and then it's going to say your name here, right? Well, right at the moment, I can tell you because I can look at the HTML and know they're causing the font color to be red right there. Font color equals FF 4 zeros. This is the hexadecimal value for a bright red. That's what's causing that. We don't want that. So if I get rid of this piece of HTML, everything from font color, you see these angle brackets, this less than and greater than sign, which refer to just these HTML brackets, which causes this HTML tag, HTML element to appear. If I highlight that and I backspace, I just got rid of it. But I also need to get rid of the corresponding closing tag. In this case, there's one right there. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm also going to just put my name on one line. And so right here, I'm going to type Yosemite Sam. There's an old cartoon reference for you. So now it's going to say from the desk of Yosemite Sam. And I did not create this HTML, so I'm already looking at some stuff that I don't like. There's a closing bold tag here. Typically you would use strong, but I don't see the open tag, so it might be opened somewhere else. I see that there's one opened there and then closed. Looks like it might have some improper HTML, and that's one of the things, the risks that you run into whenever you get a resale package from someone. They may or may not have coded the content all that well. But at the moment, I'm gonna leave it, and I'm going to click Update File, and it's going to save the change that we just made. So Update File, go back to our front page. Let's see, we'll go back to the sales page, and you see right here it says from the desk of Yosemite Sam. Okay, if we wanted to, update license terms or earnings disclaimers, I'll show you that real quick. And then I think I'll take some questions and answers, make sure I cover anything I can before we're done. So going back inside of the theme editor, actually let's get out of here for a second and show you two things. Number one, by default, WordPress creates what's referred to as ugly permalinks, or an ugly URL structure. If you see up here, it's howtowebdesign.org/?page_ID equals 21. This is not descriptive to search engines. It's not good for search engines. It's confusing for visitors. It's just plain ugly. So I would recommend whenever you put up a WordPress installation to change away from the default ugly permalinks to something that is more attractive both for search engines and visitors. If you go to Settings and click the drop-down arrow, you'll find permalinks at the bottom, at least at the moment. These do change depending upon what plugins you have installed. You'll see that default is turned on, and we want to use a custom structure. I just want the post name or the page name to show up hyphenated after my URL. So rather than having to remember how to do that, I mean, I know how to do that. I can just type it out if I wanted to. I'm going to show you a little bit easier way. If you click either day and name or month and name, either one of these two works just fine. Not numeric though. So not default, not numeric, but either of these two. We'll click month and name. You'll see it populates this custom structure with this kind of weird string. It's this last string that causes the post name to show up. If you look at the beginning, you'll see that there's a /, and that needs to be at the beginning. So what we want to do is basically get rid of everything else except for the content that starts with /, the %, post name, %, /. And you can see that it's already checked this area because we made the change. It knows we want to update that. I click Save Changes, go back to our installation. We'll go back to the home page, and if we visit now any of these other pages, I go to blog, you're going to see now that the URL is no longer that weird thing. It's just howtowebdesign.org/blog. If I go to sales page, it's /sales page. If we go to sample page, it's sample page, etc. So let's say you do put up a sales page, and let's say you do want to put up this content, license terms and earnings disclaimers. So how you would do that basically is you go back to your WordPress installation, go back to Pages, Add New, and it doesn't really matter what the name is, so license information. Oops, put your license info here. So whatever your license information is, maybe they supplied it somewhere else, you can just paste it right in here and click Publish. Okay, now that you have that in there, we can go back and visit our website, go back to our home page, refresh, and you'll see that we have license information showing up in here. Again, if you don't want it showing up in here, you know how to use the Exclude Pages plugin to get rid of it. However, I'm going to click on this page because I want to grab that URL. So right now there's hardly any content there, just that. But up at the top is the path to this page. So I'm going to click in the browser. It highlighted all of it automatically. If it doesn't, make sure it's all highlighted. Control-C to copy it to your clipboard. Go back to WordPress Admin, go back to Appearance, go back to Editor. Make sure that you go back and activate the sales page template. Scroll down until you find the link that we need to update, and I'm just kind of looking really quickly to see if I can find it. I may have passed it. I probably did. Okay, so it's right below the default payment button. It's supposed to be that link. Okay, I want to show you something inside of Edit +3 real quick. This is one of the reasons why I really like this editor as opposed to just using Notepad, is because all this text that shows up black is outputted to the theme. So it makes it easy to find stuff that you want to update, and you can update all of this information before you upload it into WordPress. You can do the work here, or you can do the work inside of WordPress. It really doesn't matter. So I'm looking for the text that is supposed to show up with license. And I'm still not finding, actually, there it is right there. So here it is right here, license terms. And it's using an A tag or an anchor tag to create the link. This, the area in ahref equals quotation marks is the link that we're trying to go to. So everything that is between these two quotation marks is where we need to paste that URL. So I'll go ahead and paste it. And we will find that we are going to link now the word license terms, because we have this bit of text between this opening A tag and this closing E tag, which is how we create a text link. It's going to redirect the person, the visitor, when they click to the license information page. All right, so now that I know basically where it is with license terms, I can go back and edit it inside of the editor. I'm going to go do the work over here so it makes it a little bit easier. Hopefully I can find it again. Not too much trouble. Right there, license terms. Again, make sure that you leave the quotation marks intact. If you don't, the link will not work. And I'll update file. Go back here, we'll go to sales page. And now, if I click the license terms link, it's going to take us to the license information page, which works just fine now. And I guess I should point out something. Of course, most files have the opportunity to search. So if you know what you're looking for, if you're looking for license, and you click your cursor somewhere at the top, if you use search and find, and you put in license, and click find, it's going to come down immediately into your code and find where it is that you're looking for. That makes it a little bit easier to speed the process up. I just wanted to point that out. You can do that inside of Notepad also.